Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Sunday evening. We are living in Groundhog Day for the 78th time. Saw that on Twitter, thought that was funny. We're here. 28-20, USC takes down Nebraska. And we are still awaiting the big one to get to a bowl game in 2024. As the graphic on the TV showed us in the second half, we are the longest Power 4 team, and it's not even close, of a team that has not made a bowl game.
Who's second closest?
Can't remember. Someone, I think, with 5, but they made it this year already.
Well, main thing is this game got out of that fun list you guys have of one-score games.
Oh, just like every other one has, yeah.
Yeah, they and saying there's only one win on that list.
There's a graph of like teams with one-score losses, and we've had 35 in the last 6 years or something ridiculous, and the next closest is 25. We have 10 more than the next closest school. It's pretty wild.
Rules record now in one-score games, I believe, has its worst win percentage now than Scott Frost, who was just the king of one-score losses.
The volume's not quite there yet. I'm not ready to throw that one out there because Frost lost 25. Rules only lost 9. So,
we're well on our way there.
We are well on our way.
Oh, and as we're talking, Wisconsin's offensive coordinator, Phil Longo, has been fired.
Really?
Okay.
So back-to-back weeks, you don't know what the offense is going to look like. There you go. That you're playing.
Great.
I did see a tweet earlier, and I don't know how they measured this. Something about Rule has lost nine games trying to make a bowl game or something like that. First time being head coach of a team. Record's 11. So by the end of the year,
we can tie it.
Yep. By the end of the year, he might be tied. Got to wait all offseason to break that.
And I would say we were probably favored to do that, but recent opening line, we are favored by 1.5 against Wisconsin. Now that is before this news. I'm not sure if this news will change it at all. Maybe it'll change it. I don't even know. Maybe it would go one way or the other, if any. So we are favored at home. That's, I guess, the big news from today. But this week or yesterday, we have a game to talk about for as much as we want to talk about it. I'm going to leave it in this, my introduction to my thoughts. There was good and bad, and a lot of stuff out there that I really don't care about. And I would feel like most analysis or thoughts about the game that you hear from everybody, and I don't know. I mean, I made myself drive home in silence after the game yesterday because I just don't want to listen to radio. This one hurt probably more than others. I don't know why. Like I didn't expect to win. Something about the game made it hurt a little more than some of the others. So we can talk about why that is. But anyways, I think all of our comments, our thoughts, our conversation today, we're going to kind of categorize it and move it into one of those. Good, what was good, what was bad, and what stuff that we truly just don't care about. There's obviously a lot of little things that we can talk about, but we can get big picture with it too. My first general comment is bad, and it's just obvious. We lost, and it sucks. Like that's just bad. It just hurts. It was not a fun one to swallow the way that game went from start to finish. Obviously, the range of outcomes, as we talked about last week, was very low and very high. And we landed at basically what Vegas predicted, right at the spread, pretty much right at the total. And so I guess we landed right where it was supposed to, according to the money. But we lost. Like, that's number one thing. Bad.
Let's 5-5. Somehow. We lost and Colorado won. It just,
Carl's in the driver's seat now, the Big 12.
Let's just talk about Colorado the rest of the time.
There we go. That's almost worse. I'd rather talk about us lose than talk about Colorado win. I mean, I agree. That was one of my things I had is just bad. Another 1-score loss. Came down the field. Some frustrating. I guess what was your guys' opinion on the time management on that last drive? We had 2 timeouts. We ended the game with 2 timeouts in our pocket, or did we
You
take
categorize
one?
it, throw it somewhere.
Bad.
Mm-hmm.
It was frustrating.
Throw it somewhere.
No, it's bad. It's like I don't know why it felt like they were trying to hold on those timeouts. I'm like, you're gonna go home with 2 timeouts in your pocket. Now we'll get to the main part of that drive later on, I'm guessing.
That clock management piece, I think, is a big topic of conversation. It has been for Matt Rule.
He's kind of struggled, yeah.
It's bad. I'm going to defend Rule a little bit. I don't know that it's as bad as everybody makes it. Everybody else, says Rule is the worst clock manager ever. I don't think he's good, and I would say I would still put this probably in how the game went into bad. I agree. I think Rule, though, is very it is simplistic, which is probably bad too in those situations, but very he thinks at the end of the first half, that was one clock management thing on the timeout and how they were used. I think he had the right idea. He was like, okay, we're going to try to go score unless this happens. Okay, that didn't happen. We're not going to go score. The other clock management thing, the timeout that we took on 4th and 3 from about midfield, and we were up 1 or down 1 with a chance to go and make a field goal. Lined up in a fake punt, didn't like the alignment, called a timeout, came out, looked to go for it, then took the delay of game, which then left us with 1 less timeout to use at the end of the game, and then we really didn't use them at the end of the game. A lot there, but I think he very one-dimensional, and he talks like it too. Think about his press conference after the game. When he explained it, he's like, we didn't like the alignment. Has anybody ever heard a coach talk about something like that? If you're going to go for it, he's like, we're going to go for it if we have this look. Well, we didn't have that look, so we didn't do it. How about you have looks for 3 different things,
right?
And have a play ready if they come out in this, if they come out in this, if they come in this. You're creative enough. You have your game plan is surrounded around multiple options based on what the defense is, and it's not just once. So that's my the other side of it. But I think he is very just one-dimensional thinking when it comes to clock management and game management. I think that hurts him, but I don't think it's as bad given what he's trying to do with the players that we have.
I agree. I don't mind the taking the timeout with the clock management. I would have done it differently, but I wasn't upset about it. It was at the end of the game, if there's a moment during the game where I'm like, why are we not taking a timeout? I know something's not going well because I shouldn't have that feeling ever. But there was 1 minute and 4 seconds left after we got a first down, or we were just short of a first down. And then we run the ball and we got the first down, but we didn't take the timeout, and we still set up and we burned 7 seconds off the clock. And now we made it down. It was 47 seconds left, and we still had half the field to go. And it's just what are we doing? We still have 2 timeouts. Don't wait until we get to the last 20 seconds to try to use 2 timeouts because you're not going to have enough time to. It was frustrating. So that was bad. Dak,
I will say this: did anybody think that we were going to score in that last drive?
No.
I didn't even, that just sucks.
No.
But I was well, someone in the room that I was in, I was like, what's the percent chance of winning this game? I'm like, do we have one? I don't know. and we did some good things somewhat on that drive. Dak?
So I didn't listen to that part you just said in the press conference. Was he meaning the defensive look he was mainly worried about?
Yeah, whenever we aligned up, because we aligned up in a fake punt, and if they gave us a look, they were going to run the fake punt. They didn't line up that way. So we called the timeout. Then we came out with our offense. We had a look ready. If they were a certain way, we were going to go for it. They weren't in it. And then we just took a delay of game and then punted it.
Well, okay. That's what you do, a certain thing called audible there, but I guess you know. So yeah, that goes in the bad.
That's what I'm saying. It's very one-dimensional thinking. There's not multiple options based on what we're doing. What I've heard people say, if you're going to go for it, go for it.
You just got to go. It doesn't matter what defense will move around. There's not even a high shot they're going to stick in what they come out in to begin with. They'll move with or audible their defense too. But yeah, I put that in the bad category. I don't know what the heck he was thinking there. Going off that last drive though, you had a couple deep tosses, but I feel like they were running like a drive they didn't know they had that little time left. Like I feel like they just kept slowly trying to move it down the field.
So the last,
you had that one deep shot. That was a good pass.
The last drive in itself, I get it was a little frustrating. This is like I almost threw that last drive in itself and kind of like I don't really care. Like, yeah, it would have been nice if certain things changed, but again, it's so hard to do at any level in Nebraska. Obviously, we're not good at doing it anyways, but we actually got the ball down and
on the 12-yard line.
Like a lot of those drives on that chart of 1-score possessions, we don't even do that. We don't even get close to that spot.
You don't care about the end of that drive?
What?
You don't care how that drive ended?
I think he says that because he knew the drive was going to fail.
Okay.
It was a successful drive, and the defense knows exactly what they're going for. So
the expectations weren't high, and we did some good things on it, and we didn't win. I'm not saying that drive wasn't a bad drive.
Yeah.
I think there's some things that could have been better in it, but I don't think, like, looking at that last drive going, God damn it, that's why we lost the game. Like, no, we were down 8 with 2 minutes to go and had no timeouts, or 2 timeouts. I don't know.
Did they go home with 2 timeouts in their pocket? I can't remember if they used it.
I think they took one more at the end.
Yeah,
one more.
Their last play.
So I guess there were some things that could have gone better, but there were some good things there. That drive, I heard some people complaining about where the ball was thrown on the last play. I'm like as far as to who it was, and he was double covered. I'm like, I don't care. Like, it was 4th and 17. You have to get the ball to the end zone. We did.
And he's under pressure.
And tell me, who would you throw it to?
Right.
Doesn't matter.
What guy on our team are we throwing the ball to?
Doesn't matter.
Like, it's Banks. You have to. Like, it's Banks. You're not throwing it to Nair. You're not throwing it to Fedoni. Fedoni probably wouldn't even have made it to the end zone.
Not enough time to get down there.
I don't know. So I was, again, that last play, I'm like, whatever. Like, I'm not complaining about what happened, what the play call was. Hey, Austin, got another thing, game topic?
Yes, good. Another pick 6. That's 2, and I couldn't even tell you the last time we had one before this year. So, and it was like actually returned. It wasn't like, Tommy Hills was from like the 10-yard line. This one, there was an actual return to it. So, shout out Sire Wright. It's actually looked really freaking good this year.
That was awesome. And I thought that his pick 6, I put him in the good category, and good for him. Awesome. The blocked field goal, I would say the pick 6 too is very well blocked, surprisingly too. That was awesome. Like, again, doing it against your former team, your home, that's cool. Like, I was like, we're gonna win this game because things like this are happening. Like, this is like it's like a storyline. No, people like the storyline of us losing by 1 score better, but it was good. Like, that was awesome. That was fun. It was entertaining to say the least.
Good for a moment.
Yep.
Well, I've got another bad category here.
Throw it out.
That crowd showing at USC, that is embarrassing.
The Rose Bowl did look.
What in which they've always been fair weather fans, but they showed it right at kickoff. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me.
Okay.
I think there might be more Husker fans too, but still, that place was not even half full. I mean, I expected it, but
I'm throwing it good because Nebraska showed out and you could hear them. Like,
well,
that's true.
I threw that out there, which is also a bad for USC.
I guess we're the Husker podcast, so that should be good. Yeah.
I will say USC, it sounded like they did show up, and you never really saw a good pan of the stadium later. But from what it sounds like, there were still like 80 to 90,000 people that showed up. At the start of the game, it was empty. Like, that was embarrassing, and it was funny. Like, I was like, what is going on? They did show up, though. It just took late to get in there. But you're right. It's the care of football in the middle of Los Angeles is very different.
Unless they're good.
A lot of these Big Ten teams. So
yeah, UCLA has the same thing. If they're bad, no one shows up to their games either. Like I expected that, but
yeah, and we can't blame this loss on me going.
You're right.
You were going to. I thought this.
I'm going to Iowa though, guys. I'm going to Iowa.
Hunter.
It's already decided. Locked in. Okay, we can't go this long without bringing this up. And this is the real reason that the game hurt so much. And I think I have a justification for it, but it's definitely a bad just because of how it makes you feel. I counted 4 missed interception opportunities. A couple of them, like you do, it's the ball just bounces stupid.
Right. I don't want to say we're unlucky because that's not like that's like kind of a. But there were so many times where it's like Hartzog's right there, and it's like his hands were that one in the end
Let's
zone.
go through them. It's
Yes.
that one, and there's the picture on the one in the end zone.
There's
Actually,
the bobbled one with
the bobbled one late where their USC receiver got a hand on it and tipped it, and it would have been an incomplete pass and they would have punted. But after the tip, it drills our guy in the helmet and then ends up in his arms to get to so that happens. We have early on in the game that Tommy Hill basically misjudging the ball, and I mean Maeva just threw it up there, and the guy caught it at the 6-yard line. Then next play they scored. There's actually one before all of these, like on the first drive where Hartzog tried to jump a pass.
Yes.
It was after the pick 6. I think we got jumpy on a third. It was another third down, and the guy caught it and got a first down on it.
But Hartzog was right there. Like it was almost
it was so close.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
It's bad. And that's what. Oh, and then I guess the other part then when on the flip side, when the ball gets tipped around on our last drive in the end zone, it's just out of reach for Barney to get it. So again, Rule said it too. He was good about it. Can't call it snake bitten, can't call him lucky. And I'm not saying it was unlucky. My justification behind it, though, that I just keep kind of coming to, and Rule says it, Frost has said it, and it brings up the question over and over, but it's hard to because Nebraska fans like to hype up everybody on our team. You have to have players. And when you say players make plays, okay, you got to make those plays. Now, the one that bounced off the helmet, I mean, I don't know.
That's
But the Sierra Wright one that goes through your hands, if you have a player, or not Sierra Wright, was it Sierra Wright?
It was Hartzog.
The Hartzog one went through his hands. It's like, okay. The Tommy Hill one.
Hartzog's actually pretty good. I think he's leading the team in interceptions this year.
He is. Again, leading the team, whatever. But it brings the question up of, well, if players aren't making plays, well, then maybe they aren't players. Like, because what do players do? They make plays. Mm-hmm. So I mean, in simplest terms, maybe that's it still. It's hard for Husker fans to admit that because of how we think about players. And I don't think that we have bad players, horrible players, but maybe they're just not as like USC had more talent than we did.
They did.
Now, do we expect to maybe have as much talent as USC? Should we? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I guess, but USC, where they're at, I don't know. But there were times that those receivers are just better than our DBs. We've never had that like for a long time in Nebraska, especially with receivers. Stanley Morgan maybe was the last one that you could say Stanley Morgan is better than that.
Palmer was pretty good.
Palmer in his own way, right? Like maybe not from a size wise, but
speed and
guy. So, anyways, bad. Obviously, all those missed opportunities. That's how I'm wording it. People might say it's unlucky, and maybe they even are. But missed opportunities.
Somewhere. The bounce one was the couple of bounce ones where it's like, oh my gosh,
it's like come on, like that, like, please. Yeah. But then I guess I can say we got the fumble, the strip, or so that was there too. But again, that's a player making a play. And the whole game, I kept thinking, the announcers kept talking, and Lincoln Riley said at halftime how well their quarterback Maeva was handling it and taking some good healthy risks. I'm like, please keep taking them. Like we're gonna get
right there.
I wasn't impressed with that guy.
And he's like, he's not making smart reads. He's throwing up prayers for his receivers, and I guess maybe Lincoln Riley's saying that's what he wants him to do because he knows his receivers are better talented than Nebraska's DBs. But I'm just like, he's throwing risky stuff, and we're gonna get some more picks. But clearly, that didn't quite end up the way we wanted to.
I had that on my list too, of just like, oh man, we're just right there. And it's like, how the heck? There were a couple catches too that the receivers made where it's like 3rd and 10. And it's like, there's no reason that receiver should have made that catch.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, yeah.
And that's the difference between USC and Nebraska in that game was a lot of
Yep.
the 3rd down conversions. But that's not something new. That's something rules talked about 3rd down. So again, who do you throw that on? I don't know. Players, coaches, it's the same conversation we have for 5 years. Like, I don't know where we throw it on because it continues to happen as a program. Okay, who wants to go next? I have like 15 things, so
you guys I was just gonna add on my A, but that's another thing that hurts about that game is losing that game when I thought he played terrible. I'd rate his game as like a D+, C- type quarterback game. I didn't think
quarterback.
Yeah, I didn't think he played that well. I think he forced the ball a lot. Like you said, you should have got a lot more picks than he did. He also had some good throws too and managed the game well at the end there. But
so my comment, I guess I had that go piggybacks off of that. 2 things. One, we defended the run, him running it. He's not as good of a runner actually as I thought he was going to be.
Yeah, I thought he was quicker.
He could run at the times he needed to, and that hurt us. The second comment on him and I guess Woody Marks too, their running back, and we do it every year, every game. Even though our defense is pretty solid, we just make guys look so much better than they are. Like Maeva was making, I agree, Dak. He was making like not good decisions, but because of the way we were playing and how it happened, like he ended up being okay, like stat line and production wise. This running back Woody Marks, I heard the Husker Online guys say it. I should say it was Sean Callahan that said best running back we've played. I'm like, how many times have we said that this year? We've made every running back the best running back that we played in the Big Ten. And Sipple was like, come on, he's not that. Well, yeah, we make guys better than they are.
Northern Iowa's running back at one point was the best running back he played.
Yeah, like seriously, we've said that every week, and it's like, no, like stop it. Now they did show the stat that we haven't allowed 100-yard rushers for a long time, and obviously Woody Marks got there. But they hit us with some run game stuff that early on wasn't there, but they adjusted quickly. And I know Dak's not going to like this comment. That's Lincoln Riley for you. That is an offensive guy, coach that knows what he's doing and was able to adjust quickly on the spot in game, and really put together some good drives against us. Again, scored enough points. We don't win games when we give up more than 20. We just don't do it because we can't score more than 20. So USC did enough to score and win.
I have a good and bad. The bad offense still only scored 13 points.
Here we go. Offense talk. We haven't gotten there yet.
I know. I was hoping I was going to let you break the seal, but
nope.
We're kind of in that channel. So good. I do think there were a couple plays where I was like, okay, like there was that tight end pass to Lindenmeyer where he kind of like blocked and then broke free for it was like a 12-yard gain for a first down. And I was like, okay, that's kind of unique. But other than that, offense still only scored 13 points. Not the vast improvement that we were looking for.
Dak?
I thought
comment on the offense, please.
The offensive scheme I thought was more creative. You had a little bit of motion. You didn't just do a tight end screen every other play. I thought the production though is about the same what it has been. So I don't know how you would. I don't know, but I would say the offense looks better. You know what? That's what I would say. Slightly better.
So I'm glad you guys kind of saw that because everything I've been hearing post-game stuff is basically looking at the stats and the numbers and the production, which you referenced, and how it pretty much was the same. That part right there is where I'm thrown into I don't care, whatever. Like, look at the numbers, read the stats, compare them, do it all you want, bring graphics up, and this is coming from stats people. Like, I don't care. what I cared about, and I have it as a good, similar to what you said, Austin, our creativity. There were flashes of some really good things. It felt better watching. It just felt like, I don't know. It was more unpredictable. Obviously, it's a first year, their first week offensive coordinator. It just felt fresh, and it's good. That's a good thing. And yes, the production, the points, there's work to be done. I'm also going to give it 2 more games. That's all we get before we go to a bowl game. I think it gave me progress and hope that we can score some and be creative enough and mix things up, which I think is why Dana took the job to begin with. He wanted there. He knew, and more I've heard about it, like he didn't talk the first 2 days he was there. He was just evaluating it and deciding whether he wanted to do what he wanted to do. I think there's some stuff there. And then the mesh, Dylan is a Dana quarterback. That's also very good in my mind. I think they are going to mesh very, very well together in what Dana wants to do. I think Dylan is going to learn a ton through Dana, and there are specific plays in this game that I think he can learn from too, that Dana is going to help him with, that Satterfield and the rest of the previous coaches were struggling to do that. So, like that whole big picture offense, the feel of it is a very good thing. I'm probably much higher on that than most people. I've seen a lot of people that are up and down on it. I just think, again, okay, let's do it real quick without getting into too much detail. Offense on the scale of 0 to 100, where are we at now?
Ooh. What did I say last time?
You changed it like 6 times, so I'm the original now.
Let's go.
So you talked me down to a 35. I'll go back up to my 44.
I was gonna say around 40.
I'm going from like my 15-20. I'm jumping up to a 35. Like,
yeah,
like it got better. Like, if Satterfield would have been here as our offense coordinator this game, it would not have moved from 15 to 20 on my scale. It wouldn't have. It would have stayed there. I almost guarantee it.
So I don't think he would have scored 13 points if he was your offensive coordinator.
He could have. He maybe could have. I don't know.
Such a low bar.
It's still low. Like, again, production wise, I'm like, I just felt better about our offense.
I will say the other good I had about the offense, Emmett Johnson. I think he's the best running back we have. I thought he was going to be our week 1 starter. I should have stuck with. I think every game I see him in, I would much rather see him than anyone else. He's just bigger. I feel he's more athletic, and they used him in the pass game this time, which I really liked. Which we haven't really been using our running backs in the pass game that much, to be honest. Outside of trying to block, which has not gone well, but Emmett's got the size, 7 catches.
It's because you have that tight end you can throw a screen to.
I know.
So Emmett, and then I have Dowdell, but for little different reasons. In our run game, got some things going, and Emmett, I think, made more guys miss than we have for the entire season. And Dowdell got a couple of holes in, but he's still just a straight line runner. But when he runs hard. Still not able to make that second guy miss in the secondary. I guess he had a hurdle on one of them. But I think that his only move is to know to jump over people. But they did some good things, our run game. And this is with a system that air raid background, right? And
the ball was thrown a lot. We probably could have ran it a few more times.
It was, but I feel like it was unpredictable to me, and it was creative, and it was there were a lot of adjustments being made, so much more than the past. We didn't, and I'm not saying I don't want to run this, but we did not go double tight, single back, and okay, I wonder what we're going to run here, zone left or zone right. Like, there was none of that to where you just knew what was coming.
Yep.
It was there were guys getting motioned out. There were some things that got shut up quickly. Like, there were definitely a few plays that got blown up. But for the most part, like we took a shot in the first play of the game downfield, like for the first time in a long time. Like, I was like, okay, great. So yeah, I mean, all those like very, very good things in our offense. Like, I shouldn't say very good. moving in the right direction. That's why I'm putting it in the good category.
That's why I said it was bad and good. It was bad because we still didn't score enough to win.
Yeah.
But there were things that you were like, okay, this is better than last week.
Now, what did you guys think after those first 3 plays? I was like, holy shit, I think they're actually running air raid here.
I didn't.
Come out slinging it.
I didn't. Now, here's the hard part, though, and this is TBD, and this is a lot of off-season talk. And it's going to be a very big topic of conversation, I know, amongst at least my friend group and people we talk Husker football with. When it comes to identity and style, what's correct, what's right, what works at Nebraska, what are we going to do, what is the way that's going to win us games? Dylan Raiola is not a Nebraska quarterback of the old where you're going to hand the ball off and run it. He's not that guy. He was not a good fit for whatever it was trying to do. It wasn't a good. He is going to be better at an air raid system. So that one of my bad things, like really bad things, and this is really bad, and it just continues to show up. He can't run. Like he's slow, and he doesn't want to run. And he even on the 4th or 3rd and 4, where he didn't even know where the line of scrimmage was, and he slid. We ended up 1.5 yards short of the first down, and he could have got it if he just would have ran, and he would have got popped. He would have, but he very much is a that you can tell doesn't want to get touched. Same thing on the and this probably was okay, but when we had to sneak it from the half-yard line before half, we threw Harburg in there because like they don't want Dylan there to get hurt. If we're going to be so focused on Dylan not getting banged up and touched, and we're telling him to slide all that stuff because he's that valuable. That tells you right there kind of what direction we're going in from an offensive identity standpoint. So a lot more to come there with what the future holds for the offense because we don't even know what going to happen to Dana. But I think Dylan and Dana are a good mesh. But that's not going to involve a lot of running. It is going to involve more passing. That's going to be hard to swallow. But guess what? How did our run game go last year? How was our run game last year? When you know what I mean? It's hard. It's a hard conversation. It's difficult because everybody in their minds has their own vision of their identity and their offense and the players that they want to fit in that. Everyone has a different opinion about it. I don't care as long as it's producing results. The problem is what results have our offense produced in a long time?
Nothing.
I mean, a long time. So
I feel like he can move though better. Just off the Ohio State game, like
he just doesn't like to.
Yeah,
he's too hesitant, and so by the time he
no.
hesitates, he can't get going.
Zach, the Ohio State game was not hit. That was Ohio State saying he's not going to run ever.
So they just left those holes there.
And they weren't ready for it at all. Like because they're like he won't do it. Oh, I give him props, he did it. But now that teams at least make that like minor tweak now to take that away, like you can just tell he does not want to run at all.
Oh, he's definitely not quick either. Like,
and it's not to me again. My style of offense. I want a quarterback that can run. Like I want a. I don't need a Lamar Jackson necessarily. Like I don't think I would even go that far. But I need like a Josh Allen type of guy or Jalen Hurts. Those are my kind of quarterbacks. A little more like past 60, 70, but able to run. I probably prefer a little more than Mahomes. I think Mahomes is probably like an 80-20 pass guy. And then, I mean, you can go further and you got your quarterbacks that are like 95-5, which is like what Dylan is, a pass guy. I like a little more run in my quarterbacks. I don't like it all run. Like I would say Heinrich Harburg's probably more run than pass. I don't think it's that far, but that's where I'm at. Everybody has a different opinion.
You guys think every time it's 3rd and 1, we should always put Heinrich out there just so the defense doesn't know if we're going to run it or pass it? Because if you put Heinrich out there, you know they're going to run it.
I'm waiting for us to use him in passing.
I know. That's what I want. That's what I'm saying is we keep putting him out there and then we run it. Why don't we actually pass him? Yeah, because he can throw. He can throw.
He's not an incapable passer.
Yes.
He's not a. You're not putting a running back there.
Right.
Like,
he is a quarterback. He won us games last year as a quarterback. Like, let's just use him out. That's what I'm saying. If we could just put him out there and actually have him pass it.
And let's stay on this a little bit. there's a lot of people I heard after the game wanting Harvard to play the last 2 games.
Yeah.
You know what I think it comes down to though? It's that running thing. Nebraska fans want a running quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what we want. That's what we're used to. I don't think we're used to seeing guys that can't do that. So that's why, I mean, regardless of but again, then
bench him.
Just keep in mind what that implication is going to have, and maybe people don't want Dylan here. If you don't think he's good and he can't run it, well then maybe we don't want it. Maybe we should. Maybe then people's opinions are get rid of him.
I was gonna say bench him, see him not come back.
I know, and that's what's going to happen. You piss him off, and I get it. But the thing is, how many recruits is he going to bring here? He is.
I mean, our offensive line recruits, I think, we've gotten a couple good offensive line recruits because Dylan's here.
Talk about that word hope. Dylan gives the future hope.
He's the savior.
There's little pockets of hope in different places. Bring in Dana, gives you a little bit of hope. All right. Rule says something a couple of times to give a little bit of hope here. John Hull now makes some field goals, which, by the way, good. Check. Great job.
Good.
Little bit of hope. Like there's a little bit of hope in different pockets. Dylan's one of those bigger pockets of hope that if you're willing to say and try something else, and maybe we do win a game with Heinrich, but you piss Dylan off, what does that mean for the future? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe the opinion is, well, it's not going to change anything. We make a bowl game. I think Dylan's got a very strong influence amongst some of these high schools. He went to 4 high schools. Like he has a lot of connections. And is getting players to come here. Now, we still need to develop those players. Stars don't mean jack shit. I hate recruiting stars. I hate them. But that is a whole big can of worms that if you're going to open that up and try to argue for Heinrich right now, oh, boy, it's tough. That's tough.
I'm definitely not arguing. I mean, I'm arguing to use him more. I think
I agree. So, yeah, I think there's an element that he can bring. Yeah. It'll be interesting how Dana does if he wants to. I don't know. Dana to me is coming in just with a kind of an effort attitude. Like I really don't. I don't.
He's got nothing to lose.
I don't care how this goes. If it goes disastrous, maybe he has something to lose. But the way this game went, it's not going to hurt him at all. I don't anticipate the next 2 games to go disastrous. So he's just going to go. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. We're going to try to make a bowl game. And see what happens. Now, Austin, you made an interesting comment on what you saw on the message boards, which we talked about a little bit last week.
Yeah, already seeing the fire rule bring in Dana as the head coach.
Yeah.
I mean, yikes.
See, what's funny is people say that because they thought they might have seen our offense being like, oh, this is great. There are people that also I've heard that are like, what did Dana do? Our offense didn't do anything. The same thing. It's so funny. Nobody knows.
Go for it, Dak.
No, you got it.
No, I was just gonna say it. I don't understand. So quick to fire coaches. So quick. It's like it's not even through year 2. Like, well, yeah, just chill. Just chill.
Yes, and no.
Yeah. I mean,
the more coaches like Signetti, I want to say it. Like Prime, the more coaches and programs you see like that, it's in the environment's all quicker. This transfer portal thing is still the word's out on it and how it's gonna play out. But the more you see teams like that utilize it, take advantage of it, it is going to pull triggers a lot faster and mindsets a lot faster. And I think it should. I really do. The buyout and the paying and all that money stuff, that's something that I don't care about. I know people bitch about that. I'm sorry, but
I agree. I don't care. The university can afford it.
People think it's, and I get money's an issue and Dana talks about it. I get it, but I don't pay whatever, pay coaches, whatever you need to pay them. I don't know. And I'm also under the opinion though, I don't want to pay a coach so much to where he's here for the money. And I think we've done that. Potentially. I like guys that want to earn their money, or if they're not earning their money, they know where to put their money or maybe give it back or give it to players or do something to where we can have better success. Like, I think that's a philosophy, but the buyout crap, I don't.
I agree.
It's whatever. So I do think, I mean, it's year 2. I don't think we should fire Rule yet, but again, questions are up there, and these 2 games are going to tell a lot. It's gonna tell a lot. And I think it all starts with him, but I think it starts with Dylan, and there's this domino effect of what happens one way or the other. Now, we are back to back off-season national champions. Probably can add some more backs in there. So I'm sure we'll get there because we're really good at that piece of it. But it's going to be interesting. Obviously, still 2 games left. What else we got? I got a couple other things.
I was going to comment one thing on the coaching.
Yep.
I was talking to Cooper Weeks, longtime listener, this morning. He was, I was telling him, I'm not saying fire Rule by any means yet, but I was telling him, I was like you said about the Indiana and Colorado thing, I'm like, you look at these schools, specifically Indiana, 1 year, this guy comes in, turns it around. Nebraska has been in the shitter for what? Or how? Since for sure 2016.
10 years, probably.
Yeah, and how can they not turn around at all? Not even just have 1 year lightning in the bottle. Like,
I agree with that. There should just be
how is it? You come to Indiana,
there should be some sort of return to the mean where you win 6 games.
Yeah, you get lucky.
We have that's the hard part to swallow about all this is we have the resources, financially and physically and all of that to do it. That's why I'm a little bit, I'll call it less patient, but my long-term strategy. We got to land on somebody that'll work, and it maybe still could be Rule, but move them in, move them out quick right now because these resources that we're talking about that give us an advantage right now. They're going to be gone here if we don't get things figured out in the next 10 or 15 years. And if we're going to spend, we're only going to be able to attempt 2 shots or 3 shots at it with coaches. Like, that's the concerning part of keeping people around and being patient. But I agree. It's still, we're not even through year 2 yet. I think Rule understands. I really do. I think it's socioeconomical thoughts. Like, I think he understands that whole thing. That's why he did this thing with Dana. Like, I think he knows if this happens in year 2 and I get year 3 started off on a wrong foot, like, it's done for me. It's done. And it might already be done after this year if we don't make I think he knows that. He gets that. So that's why he made the change, and he's trying to get things figured out now and not wait and say, oh, we can hope for year 3 to be good. Like, remember, Rule said we were in year 2 when we were in year 1. That's kind of on him, but it got people excited, got people hopeful. But then you got to put wins after that to show it, for it to prove it. And we haven't done that enough to make a poll game, at least, yet. Okay, talk about that. Oh, bad. I mentioned Fedoni. Oh, gosh. I guess maybe he's a decent blocker. Guys, he can't move. It's hard. Yeah, it's hard to watch. It's kind of sad. I mean, obviously he's been hurt, but number 1 tight end recruit a few years ago, and
when you blow 2 knees, you're not going to move the same.
He caught that pass late in the game on I can't remember if it was the last drive or the second to last drive, and I'm like, oh, this should be a first down, and he literally didn't gain any yards because he caught it and like tried to turn a 180, and I'm just like, oh boy. He just must be very. It sucks. It's sad. More sad than bad, but it doesn't help anything based on what we were hoping we could get production out of him. Hartzog, the other thing, and I'm not necessarily picking on him. And our secondary, Hartzog's just small. Like I feel you, Hartzog. Like I am too.
That's why some of those plays he was in perfect position, and it's just
teams have exploited him.
Yep.
Because of that, and small, and I guess he's not very thick either, which, I mean, you got to have speed then. That's just hard. Like, he does some good things too. Like, he does. Tommy Hill, same thing. Like, he was supposed to be our best player right on the video game ranking wise. He has some plays just like, oh man. Like, so yeah, that's my other bad I wrote down. That was just like, this is not good. Oh, okay. I have one more good and one more bad. Anybody have anything else?
I don't think so. My other one was kicking game, which you mentioned.
Do we want to talk about the major bad one that?
Go ahead, Dak. Spit it out.
All right, the refs.
Spit it out. Go.
Which honestly, I've been thinking about that all day, or some other day.
Me too.
Anyway, that holding call at the end. I mean, yeah, that was obviously holding, but that whole game they were letting them play like that. Like that very first play of the game, that's pass interference, but they didn't call it. I think they just let him play like that the whole game. So they're consistent, awfully consistent, but yeah, I don't know how you missed that call. Don't get me started again on the Vikings face mask. It's like same thing. You're staring at the dude. How do you miss that? You're looking for flags. That's what your job is. You're staring around it and you just don't throw it. Like,
I hate talking about the freaking refs.
Let's do it. We got to do it. We got to do it.
It's terrible.
All right.
Like, in the game.
I had the same thing, Dak. There were times during the game, like there was one return where like they were holding our guy by the helmet, and
Yeah.
I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, where he like was trying to turn and he was holding by the helmet. He ended up falling. They didn't call it, and the pass interference, the holding. There's that one big pass. Apparently, the receiver went out of bounds and then didn't fully.
I never did see a clear shot of that, but I was like convinced watching it live. I'm like, did he not just step out of bounds before he got it? Like,
right.
I never did go back and see a replay like close, but no, they didn't catch it. Announcers didn't, so they didn't look at it. But I kind of thought the same thing. But
that's reviewable too, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
If they catch it, yeah.
Okay, and I'm with you, Austin, with fans and officiating. It sucks. It's annoying. It's so annoying to read about it, and my opinions have changed slightly on a lot of officiating. Because before I was like, I don't even want to talk about it. Like, is it stupid? They're never the reason you lose.
But we're not saying we lost the game because of the official.
No, and you don't. That still holds true.
A lot of people are, but
right.
Yeah, but some people still blame it. Obviously, as players and coaches, you never can. But there's definitely frustrating moments with officiating, and it's not. I'm not saying it's a Nebraska. Like they hate Nebraska. That's not true. It is the quality of officiating that we're talking about. Several plays, you mentioned a lot of them, Austin, obviously that were against us. This is a fact. Like, I'm not saying this is a true fact. We will not see those same type of plays for the other team because we're not looking for them. So,
100%.
I think people always say, like, you try to pick out and say, oh, Nebraska's always got 8 or 9 plays that they're pissed off about. What about the other team? Well, maybe there's one that you can think of. No, the other team has 8 or 9 too that they could bring up easily, because that's what you look for when you're a fan like that invested into a team. To prove it to you, go watch any game by yourself that you have zero interest in. You will never think the refs are screwing one team, ever. You won't think that. You will not. You could nitpick calls, but it's going to be so 50-50 split.
You're not going to watch until the end of the game and the refs miss a call, and you're like, oh, man, they kind of get screwed on that.
Yeah, maybe one big one. But when you're watching a game, they're right. There were a bunch, and you go, God damn it. Like, you feel like, God, we are getting held all the time. No. And you look at replay. That's holding, whatever. The other side, we're not even watching our blocks. We're enjoying, we're celebrating, we're not. So anyways, that's my first comment on officiating. But here's where my position's changed. Why, and the NFL's figuring it out. They're not there yet. Why can't we just get the goddamn thing right? And when I say what the word right is, I don't know what that is, but decide what's right. I know officiating is a lot of judgment, but with football, there's a lot less judgment in football than basketball. There's some pretty black and white. And if there is judgment, get on the same page on what the rule is and call it that way as a committee of officials from the entire conference, NCAA, whatever you want to call it. Get yourself on the same page. What pisses me off about it all, I get fired up about this now because, again, not the reason why we lost, but we have the technology to do it. We have it.
Very easy to
more
calm
money
down and say, hey, that's a hold.
I said, if it's a matter of training, or if it's a matter of we don't have enough, put 20 refs in the field. I don't care. Get the call right for everything. And is it going to slow game down? Maybe it can, but we're going to figure it out slowly. The NFL's getting quick reviews. We should not be missing blatant, obvious stuff. If you see it on the replay, well, then go call it. Go throw it. Actually, they did it in the Nebraska game today. basketball game where, like, with a few minutes left, one of our guys got called for goaltending for touching the net or something, and they came back out of the second half and took the 2 points away for St. Mary's. So, like, get the call right, even though it takes a little more. Because here's the problem: we have things that are reviewable, right? You can review this, but guess what? They reviewed on the one completion, right? The one that we had early in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They went and reviewed it. And then you look at the review and you go, oh, God, yep, he definitely was interfered. And whoever it was, I don't even remember who the guy was on TV when the official was like, yep, he goes, but you can't review that play. You can't review the pass interference, but all you can review. I'm like, that's bullshit. Like, you're going to watch it and you're going to say, yep, why can we not figure that out as a college football world to change that? Like that. If we're gonna review stuff and we're gonna have technology, then get the play right. If you don't, then take it all out. Take everything out and make it completely judgmental. That way, everybody knows that calls are gonna be missed, and it is what it is. All that's gonna do though is make people think refs are even worse.
So for sure,
I still don't think refs are getting worse, but I maybe do think, because I think they're overthinking stuff a lot because they're trying to dictate the story and the play and. You know, oh, I gave a call here. Or like you said, Dak, they haven't been calling it all game, so they're never going to call it. That to me is bullshit. Like, or the famous line of, oh, you don't want the refs to decide the outcome of the game because it's the last play, and
right.
You know, I'm like that's complete
yes,
bullshit.
I do.
It's the rule. You
right. You can't just
that is a rule of the game.
Last play of the game does not give you justification. Does not have.
It's the okay, then we'll just start tackling. Like, that's the rule of pass interference. Is that right? Like, so that to me, that frustrates me that, like, as a sport, we have not figured that out yet, because it's easily able to be done. And again, if the crew hasn't been calling it the whole game, okay, like, I get it, good. But if you're not going to call it the whole game, then every other crew better not call that, because that's the rule, that's not pass interference, or that's not holding. It should not change from crew to crew like that much. It's going to change slightly on the flags and penalties and what gets thrown, but it should not change that much of, okay, well, this crew's not going to throw defensive holding and pass interference because they're not known for that. No, if it's defensive holding and pass interference, it's defensive holding and pass interference, because that's what you decided as an officiating crew in your meetings. You've talked about that. And I've said this is a solution. Every Big Ten game, have 10 officials sitting in a room together and pay them. I mean, they don't have to be at the stadium even, watching the game, and right through the play happens, they can watch it right away and they can take a quick vote or whatever they want to say. If it's a judgmental 50-50 call, then they can all say, okay, nope, that's not holding. Good. Okay, move on. That way you can say, as a organization, this is what we agree on, what's holding and what's not, and then you can communicate that to the players and the ones that are playing the game and the fans for that matter, and say, nope, that by definition that's not holding, and here's why. But we don't do that. We can't do that, and it's frustrating. That's I think a lot of coaches would agree that with the statement that we should be able to get calls right in the moment with technology that we have. It should not be this hard to miss blatantly obvious, like the face mask that Dak is referring to in the Vikings. That should never be not called, ever.
Yep.
In today's society, it's clear that's cheating. That you're breaking the rule of the game. That's what you're doing. You should not be allowed to do that and get away with it.
And I haven't slept since that.
Yeah.
No,
that's my whole officiating thing. Because again, we did not lose the game because of it.
It's just frustrating.
But you watch that. Because what probably would have happened if we would have got the pass interference anyways, let's be real, we would have got the ball first and goal on the 2.
0 seconds left, one play. Probably wouldn't have scored. Or if we would have scored, then we would have scored and knock out the 2-point conversion, because we just don't do that stuff. Or we do get the 2-point conversion, we go to overtime, and then we, are the best team in overtime in the history of college football, right? So, again, that doesn't change the outcome of the game, but it's just like, get the call right. Can we just figure it out? So I'm sure we'll talk about it again, but
The NFL's figuring it out quicker. They're doing a good job of getting quick reviews, quick immediate call downs, and it's not on everything, but they're starting to do it, and I appreciate that that's moving that way.
Well, then you have people that, which I think people's like the bitch, that they're on the other side that say the game will take too long. It does not take that long to phone down and say, "Hey, that was a hold."
And efficiency
5
will get
seconds?
better at it. People will.
I mean, right now
will
reviews take as too long, but if you're getting it more correct on the field, the reviews are going to be quicker.
It's quicker in the NFL now with those instant reviews. They just phone down real quick, and it's like they don't got to go roll out a freaking TV. And
I've always said too, why are we trying to shorten something that you love to watch?
I don't think they're trying to shorten it. They're just trying to not elongate it. I mean, they have the thing.
I get it. I'm not saying I want a 12-hour football game, but like,
that'd be.
I don't. And everybody has their opinions about length of stuff, and
I mean that's like baseball.
It is, and I don't like baseball, so I don't want that. So I guess if people that don't want to elongate football, maybe they don't like football, then quit. I don't know.
No, then maybe they like it. They just don't want to spend 4.5 hours to 5 hours watching the game instead of 3.5 to 4. Like there's a difference.
Baseball, I'm not spending an hour, so
right.
It's probably a little bit different. Okay. Well, I think just for update podcast, we'll probably do twice a week here up through the Iowa game, and then hopefully we're still going to a bowl game. But once a week from there on. I guess you can still watch us on YouTube if you're still listening. By the way, YouTube is ad free, so I keep forgetting to say that. But if you listen, and there are a lot of ads in here, I just hit like what's recommended to include. I'm not sure what people get for ads. I'm not sure really how that works, but YouTube is ad free, and you can get a look at Dak while you're listening. So
his handheld camera, it's always a pleasure. Yeah. I mean, this
HD.
podcast, he's shuffling through his cabinet. He's looking for.
I was doing other stuff.
By the way, how'd you do on your picks this week?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. I have not checked it yet, so I'll report back to you on Wednesday about that.
I'm kind of stopped recording them, but I think you're right about 50%. See if you can keep that.
I'm guessing pretty good. I'm trying to think what I had.
You only bet 5 this week.
That's right.
Did you actually bet them?
Nope, I didn't put it down. I completely forgot.
Disappointing.
But do you guys want to? I had that one more point I want to talk to you. I saw a tweet about.
Jesus.
What?
Yes, go ahead.
One last one here. What grade would you guys give Rule's tenure of coaching Nebraska so far?
You gotta get a D.
1 to 10.
A B like A B C.
C minus.
I was thinking C minus D plus. Yep.
Good God, that's so hard.
We got a 5-star quarterback. There was a lot of energy around the program for the first time in a while.
Yeah, I'm going C.
I'm
going C. Now here's my follow-up.
Got to beat Iowa.
What's if you had to rate the potential?
Ooh, probably a C. I don't think he's gonna be like he's not gonna be a Bo. I don't think he's gonna be a Bo Pelini level, to be honest.
Here's our hope. Here's our hope conversation. Where are you at, Dak? This is all hope. Right. Where's the potential?
B minus, C plus.
I'm a little higher on the hope.
I still think he's a solid coach.
I'm there at the B minus potential wise, but that could change quickly here in the next couple of weeks.
The problem is I feel like he's not a super great coach. I feel like he's right in the middle of coaching.
He's kind of like CEO is what, that was the
kind of like a Kirk Cousins coach. He's like Kirk right in the middle. Good coach.
Like Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold rocks. You guys would kill for Sam Darnold to be your coach.
All right, we'll be back Wednesday. Go Red.
GBR.
Boomer Sooner.